Good morning, Kelly Town. I'm back with another video. This time we're going to talk about spirit experiences. By the time I was a preteen, my clairvoyance, my prophetic dreams, my clairsentience, those were already starting to manifest themselves, and they only grew stronger as I've gotten older. But I didn't start experiencing spirits until my grandmother passed away, and also in my first year of college. In my first year of college, I would see white mists hanging in the air in the middle of the night. There wouldn't be any foggy weather or rain to cause this fog or white mist, so it mystified me, to say the least. Everybody has their own unique experiences with the spirit world. In fact, the majority of people will only get spirit world related contact in their dreams, usually when a loved one visits them or it becomes a recurring dream for them to visit. Working with spirits has been a very slow process for me. It didn't come until, I wouldn't say 19 or 20 was considered late in life, but I guess for some people it is. I was so afraid to come to terms with that part of myself that for many years I just dismissed it and didn't really want anything to do with it. And I feel like that's very normal for a lot of people on this path. They don't want to get their hands in things that they don't understand. But what I did was I did my best to understand what was happening. I would consult with my more experienced witch practitioner friends, some of which have had mediumship and channeling abilities since they were children. Children are particularly susceptible to spirits, as are animals. I also got my hands on as many books as possible to read about what was happening to me. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, I was really scared and ignorant to what was going on. I had an experience with shadow people one time. So it was the week of February vacation. I was a senior in high school at the time, and they kind of came out of the blue. I would be laying down to go to sleep, and right as I'm reaching a hypnagogic state. Hypnagogia is defined as the state between wakefulness and sleep. It's when you're about to go to sleep. Your body's starting to relax, your mind is starting to drift off to sleep. I felt like a pressure on my chest. I looked up, saw this black figure pushing down on me, and then it faded into the right side of my vision. And I was like, that's weird. And then it happened a few more nights. One time I was in the hallway, I felt and saw something run past me, and it was one of the shadow people. I finally said enough was enough. That was another situation where I talked to one of my more experienced practitioner friends, and fortunately shadow people are not smart enough to hurt you, contrary to popular belief or what you'll see on paranormal TV. So I did simple protection wards in my room, sealing it off with salt, and they never bothered me again. So how to tell if spirits are around? If you have your own psychic abilities, you'll experience it a little differently, but I will usually feel them around me, behind me usually. I can also hear them, and when they talk, it depends on the type of spirit. If they're dead, they might not have a lot to say, and that's very normal. A lot of people go in expecting the dead to, speak as though they were alive. It's not the case. They're in a different state of existence now. They still exist, non-corporeal, but they're still there, but their capabilities have changed somewhat during this transformation. Death is a transformation. They don't have a physical body anymore. Sometimes when you're working with them in a ritual, they'll communicate with you in other ways. You'll get sometimes ideas, sometimes they'll send you signs, sometimes they'll communicate through the smoke of the incense you're burning or through the candle that you're burning for them. Sometimes when you're not in a ritual, there are the classic show me a sign situations where they'll be showing you signs of things that are oddly specific that only you would know. It is extremely rare for things to be moving around because a spirit is there. I know it's shown in the media a lot, on TV, but what we see is just a small fraction of what actually happens. Spirits, just like the living, they have different capabilities after they die. It's no different. They all have personalities. They're both good and bad. Sometimes you'll encounter spirits that are, really like mean, bad to the bone in life. Others are quite literally earth angels, like one of my very good friends who passed away within a year after my grandmother did. It was kind of a catalyst for me to discover this part of myself. Very important when working with spirits is to have some type of protection in place. You only want to allow spirits in that you invite, that you authorize to come into your space or to your home. These could be your ancestors, these could be deceased friends, the mighty dead, who are the ancestors of the craft, part of the spiritual bloodline of the craft. Any deities you work with, of course. If you don't have proper wards up, sometimes spirits will pass through your house. And if you're sensitive to this stuff, you're going to know something's a little off. I had a client message me one time, and her dogs kept barking outside of her door. She showed me a picture of the door, and she said, yeah, I think there's something in my house. I think it's haunted. And I said, hauntings are actually very rare. Hauntings usually happen because of residual energy. Even though the spirits have already moved on to where they're supposed to go, the residual energy in the haunted place remains. Residual energy isn't just from the spirits themselves, but what happened at a place. For example, if you have a haunted place where a lot of abuse happened, a lot of terrible things, for example, like the mental hospital in Danvers, which is now apartments for some reason, that is considered to be like a haunting. Abandoned hospitals especially are thought to be haunted. I mean, people die in hospitals. Sometimes they have morgues in the bottoms of hospitals, and when all that gets abandoned, the residual is still there. I remember when I used to work at the hospital, I had to go through the wing where pathology was. Pathology is the morgue, autopsies, and it was also a teaching hospital. I remember going through there, having to take the elevator. It was the creepiest thing. It looked like something out of Silent Hill. I had to go up there for something, and the energy was very, very heavy because that was residual from those that had, presumably died at the hospital, had bodies transferred there for autopsies, research, etc. Coffee break, 1 sec. Cemeteries themselves aren't really haunted. Some will say they are because they are the final resting place of the dead. But as far as I'm concerned, cemeteries are some of the most peaceful places in the entire world. I'm going to conclude with this. My mother once told me, it's the living you have to be afraid of, not the dead. Couple things I just wanted to say before I actually conclude the video. I'm going to be releasing a book with Cross Crow Books as of August 2024 called Stones in the Glade. It would mean a lot if you could go over to their website and subscribe to their email list to see when their new releases are coming out, including mine. And definitely check them out over there. I also offer services such as readings and tutoring for witches and occultists. If you want to visit my website, that would be amazing to work with some of you guys. And on that note, I will see you guys really soon in the next video.